Hi, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us for our Fill Your Cup webinar presentation. My name is Emily Myhouse, and I am a Wellness Support Specialist with Sharp Best Health.
And I am Janice Chen Kwanko, also with Sharp Best Health as a Wellness Support Specialist.
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about sort of the importance of practicing self-care. I think we all know that practicing self-care is important, but I don't know that it's ever been so important, especially given the current moment. So today, in about 20-30 minutes, we're going to be talking about what are some practical tools and tips that you can start implementing right now to make sure that you are feeling filled up and that will help prevent burnout. So we like to give sort of this cup analogy. So if you imagine you're starting your day with a full cup, and the cup that you have, it kind of symbolizes, or it's a metaphor for all of the energy that you're going to give out during the day. So whether that be physical, emotional, spiritual, mental. So you imagine yourself with your cup and you're going about your day, especially if you are a nurse or healthcare professional, and you are kind of splashing your cup on people, right? You're giving and you're giving and you're giving. And soon enough, our cups will be emptied. And this is particularly important for healthcare providers, because I think that innately your desire is to care for others, right? So, and you're so good at it, and in turn, it just means that it's important to make sure that your cup is being filled. And if we don't take that time to take care of ourselves, then we come up empty, and we're not able to care for our patients, our friends, family, coworkers. I like to also put in the cup sideways to also show that sometimes we fill our cup with things that are only temporarily satisfying. So when I think of temporarily satisfying, I think of things where, and maybe you can think for yourself too, things that feel good in the moment but don't actually produce lasting stress relief. So maybe it's checking your phone or your social media, maybe it's eating a candy bar, whatever it is. And not to say any of these things are bad, but the question you'd want to ask yourself are, what are the things that you do that makes you feel fulfilled after you do them? So maybe it's going on a walk or talking with a good friend. Maybe it's taking some time to journal. And then what are the things that we turn to for kind of quick relief, and it feels good in the moment? And not to say don't do those things, because that's beyond the point, but just to think what actually leads to lasting fulfillment.
So here are some signs that you are pouring from an empty cup. So you're coming into your work day and your tank has not been refilled. And one of those that you're just emotionally exhausted, just constantly emotionally exhausted. Depersonalization. Lack of personal accomplishment. You may have a complete to-do list for your day-to-day routine at work and even at home. And even though you have things checked off, I know Emily and I, we love our lists and we check things off, but even just feeling this lack of personal accomplishment, just not feeling complete about how you go about your day, or just even if things are just checked off, you're just not feeling complete. Constant fatigue, and this could be something about not getting enough sleep, possibly constantly pouring from, an empty cup. You're just trying to stir up all this energy to give to your patients and your loved ones at home. And if you're not resetting yourself, constant fatigue can definitely build up and cause more, exhaustion. You dread going to work, for those of us who are hospital workers, putting on your scrubs and you're just dragging to get out the door, driving to work and you're just dragging to get there, and you just dread it. That's another sign that you're probably pouring from an empty cup. Irritability, when you know that that's just not typically your day-to-day self, you notice that you're just a little bit more irritable, moody, another sign that you could possibly be pouring from an empty cup. Changes in your sleep habit, and that also goes with constant fatigue, especially for those of us who work through the night and having to sleep during the day, especially, and that could be a change in our sleep habit, and even just being constantly stressed out can also lead to changes in our sleep habits.
Mhm.
And also feeling just down in the dumps, just not your typical self. Again, if you're feeling just kind of low, this could also be a sign.
Mhm.
And the last one we have here on the list is feeling sick frequently. You just can't stir up the energy to be 100% yourself. And this could be a whole mix from the list here that you see here, but just not feeling yourself and just feeling maybe this constant level of, you're kind of feeling mediocre or maybe even lower than mediocre, but you're just not feeling healthy.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think that if you're going through this list, thank you kind of for going through those, Janice. If you've noticed any of these signs in yourself, let this be sort of a moment as you're watching or listening to today's webinar to have a moment of self-reflection, right? And I think that so many of us are really busy right now, and we have sort of that constant mental to-do list, and it's kind of go, go, go. So hopefully today is a good, just take a moment and think through, how have you been taking care of yourself, or are you exhibiting any of these signs that you're pouring from an empty cup? Oftentimes, and you may have noticed that a lot of these signs are also similar to the signs that you might see if you have or are starting to get burned out. So just paying attention to how you're coping with and you're feeling is super important. And I think sometimes that we think that taking care of ourselves is optional, or that it's not, it doesn't need to be first priority. I always like to share that the ANA, actually their code of ethics, the American Nursing Association, it's actually mandated that healthcare providers care for themselves the same way that they would care for a patient.
Right.
And there's so much research that suggests that your amount of self-care directly impacts how you do your job. And it makes sense, right? It's like when you go on the plane and they say, put on your oxygen mask before helping others. It's because we really can't pour from an empty cup.
Right.
And so self-care, just to kind of set the stage, what does that mean? Because I think it sometimes can be a nebulous term. It means different things to different people, different times. So self-care is the practice of taking action to preserve or improve your own health. And what we're going to talk about today is what this can look like. Like sometimes we think it just means taking a bubble bath or getting a massage, but that it goes so much beyond that of what does taking care of yourself actually look like?
So this is where at Sharp as Health, we would like to hopefully change your mindset about self-care. So self-fullness is caring for your own welfare so that you're able to take care of the welfare of others. Again, we're going to point out, Emily just mentioned, self-care is not being selfish. It's not an option to take care of yourself. It is the option to take care of yourself. It's unique to you. Emily mentioned a bubble bath, a massage. If someone wants to go fishing or hiking, what have you, going to the desert or something that they enjoy doing, taking photography classes or a hobby. A lot of us retreat to those things for self-care. Again, unique to everybody, unique to each person. So we know we need to do it. So, right, we acknowledge, we sometimes intend to do it. Many times, Emily and I will be teaching this course in person, and we've asked, we pose the question to the class, and they say, I meant to get a massage, I meant to get a pedicure, or I meant to go have a healthy meal. But why did it not go? Why did not your action go? Why didn't it require your action? So we're basically saying it requires your action beyond your knowledge and intent. So actually doing the activity.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No,
So
go ahead. Sorry.
That's okay. So one of the questions, I'd like to pose to you again, how Emily mentioned earlier, is we'd like to ask each and every one of you who are watching this webinar, what do you do for self-care? Some of us may have a basket. For example, we often do workshops, or we have a challenge, for example, from Sharp Best Health, where we ask people to make a basket, whether that have your dog leash in it, or DVD videos of yoga and a yoga mat inside, or your favorite DVD, or I know people are not on DVD anymore, but your favorite list of movies, a candy bar, if you will, different things, a candle that you enjoy to burn when you're not feeling well, or you just want your mood to be brightened up, or some aromatherapy, for example, some coloring pages. Those are just some examples that we have, and we'll share more examples as we go on with this webinar. But just to kind of put into perspective, what do you have at the end of the day, at the end of a work day, at the end of the evening, for example, if you're getting ready for bed, you just have, 10 minutes to spare for yourself. What do you do for self-care?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to Janice's point, it's so important to make an actionable plan. We have another presentation that we teach called Emotional Agility. One of the things we talk about in that presentation is the importance of being aware of cognitive distortions. Cognitive distortions are kind of a fancy way of saying unhelpful thinking styles. There's a whole list of them, so I would encourage you to just Google it. One of the cognitive distortions is should statements. And I don't know that we would automatically think of that as being unhelpful, but oftentimes a should statement sort of just leads to shame and guilt when we don't accomplish something. So I should eat healthier is an example. Mm-hmm. Whereas, a reframed thought that would actually be helpful is I'm going to eat healthier today by doing X, you fill in the blank. And so we can apply that same principle to taking care of ourselves, right? I should make sure that I'm getting enough rest. Well, instead of saying I should, how can you reframe that statement into something that is helpful? Tonight, I'm going to set an alarm to get ready for bed at X time. The other thing that's important too is also finding ways to infuse self-care throughout your day. And we'll talk a little bit more later about some ideas of how you can infuse taking care of yourself throughout the day, where it doesn't need to be this long, drawn-out activity, and sometimes it can be, but there are small things that you can do throughout the day, and that's so important as well. So here at Sharp Best Health, we want to help fill your cup. We have a lot of different resources available to you, so we want to just take the next few minutes and kind of quickly share what is available. Some of these have been created in response to everything that's going on. Some of them are long-standing resources. So the first are virtual fitness classes. On-site at the hospitals and some of the other sites as well, we had on-site fitness classes, but with no longer meeting in groups, we now have virtual fitness classes. So we have yoga and Pilates trainings from our fitness instructors that are on YouTube. Before I keep going, I'm going to pause, take a step back, and say that everything I'm mentioning here is all on our Sharp Best Health page on SharpNet, and we'll link that page underneath this webinar so you can access it easily. So don't feel like you need to, frantically be taking notes or searching. We'll give you the link, and it's all right there for you. So you can jump back in. So we have yoga and Pilates classes from our trainers. They're about 15 minutes. We also have access as healthcare professionals to an app called Down Dog, and it's a yoga app that is usually costs money, but they've offered free access for healthcare professionals until I believe it's January of 2021.
Right.
And what I personally like most about the app is that it's your yoga experience is completely customizable. So you can go in and choose how long you want your session to be, even what music you want playing in the background, certain goals that you want to focus on. So it's a really neat app. And if you've never practiced yoga, this is a great place to start. Or if you are a seasoned yogi, they also have really great classes for you as well. And then the Sewell Healthy Living Center also has a wide menu of virtual fitness classes that you can take advantage of. The Cultivating Joy Project. So this is a collection of on-demand modules that were designed to help you prevent burnout, increase resilience. So the 6 modules that it focuses on are purpose, self-compassion, positive relationships, self-care, gratitude, and mindfulness. Each of these modules is comprised of a toolkit and a corresponding worksheet. And so you can go through these on your own time and just pick and choose which ones sound interesting to you. Wellness webinars. So there are quite a few different webinars like today's that are available for you to watch on demand. So some examples, there was healthy eating during challenging times, mindfulness and resilience, sleep and pain, from stress to self-compassion. So those are just a quick snapshot. There's quite a few on there. Virtual mindfulness drop-in sessions. So these are about 20 to 30 minutes in length. They're offered every single day, work day of the week, so Monday through Friday, during the lunch hour. And they're offered by experts here within our system, and they're live classes. So if you've never practiced mindfulness, this is a great place to start, and also connect with your coworkers. Coffee Break with Sharp Health. So this is our podcast, and every week we release new episodes, and they are designed to be listened to during your breaks. So they're about 10 to 20 minutes in length. So some examples of recent episodes are returning to the gym after quarantine, staying connected while being apart, and health and wellness resources during COVID-19. And you can find all of these episodes on Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play. Am I missing any of them, Janice?
Podbean. They're pretty much wherever podcasts are offered, and for free.
And completely for free. So you just search Coffee Break with Sharp Health. And then the Move More Rewards program. So the Move More Rewards program has been in existence for a while. If you have been familiar with Sharp Health, you may have heard of the Fitbit Rewards program. So this actually replaced the Fitbit Rewards program because it allows you to sync practically any device to this app. So any tracking device, whether it be a Garmin, Apple Watch, Fitbit. If you don't have a tracker, don't worry, because you can also connect your phone to this app. So essentially you're connecting app to app. It's super easy to set up. It's free, and then depending on the number of steps you take, you're entered into opportunity drawings each month to win rewards for walking. And we occasionally do really fun challenges, like we did the Hero to Hustle 5K, and we'll do fun challenges in between the months as well.
All right. So speaking about other apps that we have here, one is called Will, and this is our digital mindfulness and yoga app, and basically it's mindfulness at the touch of your smartphone, and really all you need is 1 minute to start your practice. For some of you who may be thinking of starting up your mindfulness practice, this might be a way to go about it. They're voice guided videos sessions, and you don't have to watch it, really just have to listen. Many people will use it, especially if they need help with sleep. As you can see here on the screen, we have a number of areas that you could work on, such as reducing anxiety, improving your sleep, increasing your focus and attention, creating calm, having better relationships, increasing self-awareness, decreasing chronic pain, and much, much more. There are over 1,200 guided sessions, and this also includes yoga. So if you have, for example, a tablet or a laptop that you'd like to sync possibly to your smart TV if you have one, you can watch it from there and just follow the yoga poses from there. Completely free to all employees at Sharp Healthcare for full-time, part-time, and per diem employees. More information, just type out WHIL on SharpNet to register.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a really great app. If you've never practiced mindfulness, this is a really great place to start. And if you practice mindfulness regularly, they also have sessions for you. So the EAP, a lot of us are familiar with the Employee Assistance Program, but just wanted to take a minute to call out. They're very great services. So they are a group of trained professional counselors that offer counseling to Sharp employees completely for free. They have several offices around the San Diego region, but they also have a new telehealth sort of situation. So you can call via the phone or via Zoom. I think a lot of people think that EAP is just for work-related issues, but they're not.
Mm-hmm.
If you can call and talk or show up in person and talk about so many different things in court, including personal things that you may be facing. And
Absolutely.
it's free, it's confidential, and so definitely a really great resource to take advantage of.
And I just want to add, that they do, I believe it is 8 calendar appointments, so 8 monthly appointments a year.
Mm-hmm.
So 8 out of 12 months, you have free appointments. So this is definitely a worthwhile option that's available for our employees.
That's a great point, Janice. Thank you.
So filling up your cup at work. And so Emily had to teach me this one, but basically the first one we have here is the 4-7-8 breathing technique. And so basically these techniques are designed to bring the body into a state of deep relaxation. So specific patterns that involve holding the breath for a period of time to allow your body to replenish its oxygen. So from the lungs outward, techniques like the 4-7-8 can give your organs and tissues a much needed oxygen boost. So basically you breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold your breath for 4 seconds, and then you exhale for 8 seconds. So if you think about the 4, 7, and 8. And I think if you look at the numbers there, you could possibly do this while you're washing your hands for 20 seconds.
Oh, good point,
There you
Janice.
go. Yeah. Staying hydrated. And in the past, Sharp Best Health has held many challenges regarding staying hydrated and making sure we get our 8 glasses or however many glasses of water you need a day. And lately, if it's hotter weather, make sure to have more water to hydrate with. And so staying hydrated, even just number one, can keep you healthy and making sure that your organs and everything are working well.
Isn't it crazy how often we forget to do just simple things like drinking water throughout the day? I don't know that we would necessarily associate drinking water with self-care, but we sort of need water to survive. And so making sure we're taking the time to get our water in throughout the day.
And you make total sense, Em. I mean, sometimes especially like you kind of come down with a headache and you're like, okay, well, I ate. Okay, do I need to take a Tylenol, what have you? Usually in my mind, I'm thinking, did I have enough water first? And if I've hydrated and within that hour I'm still having a headache, thinking, is it sinuses now? What have you? But even the simple thing of just hydrating water can be such a miracle sometimes.
Yeah.
Packing healthy meals really just recharges you to set your day straight with having the right amount of protein, carbohydrates, fiber, all that. And also too, you're more mindful at work when you're packing your own meals because what you're putting into your meals because you're creating them from at home. Less sodium perhaps, less cholesterol perhaps, less sugar content added in there because you're packing that healthy meal. And I kind of get excited about meal prep Sundays myself and getting ready for the week and, look forward to it because I know what I packed and I'm also saving a lot of money and not having to spend money at the cafeteria or with DoorDash delivery, for example. And so I just know what my body's taking in and I'm hydrating it well. And you kind of have like just that mental notion of, I feel better about this. Another one is a gratitude exercise. I mentioned earlier about doing a breathing technique when you're washing your hands, but something you could also practice while you're washing your hands at work or at home is practicing gratitude and just keeping things on a positive note, considering, what 3 things am I grateful for today? Even if you just land with one. And just, start off with the one and build yourself up throughout the week with, reminding yourself what am I grateful for? Just a basic question. And we think about this at Sharp Best Health, just we're multitaskers. And so as you're washing your hands, maybe even rolling your shoulders back or something, just also, put in a gratitude exercise. And this kind of sets you forward for having a positive day.
Yeah, to your point, Janice. It brings to mind, what is positive, and our brains have a negativity bias, and so to be intentional about thinking of the things that are positive and the things that we're grateful for, it takes some effort, and we always like to kind of share one of the golden rules of behavior change is when you're trying to, start a new habit. So maybe in this case, it's bringing to mind things that you're grateful for. You want to anchor it to something that you already do, which is why in this case, it's washing your hands. So by simply remembering as you're washing your hands, like Janice said, think of something that you're grateful for. Pretty soon you'll find you don't have to actually think about it anymore. It just kind of comes naturally to you, which is what's so nice.
Right. The next one is rather than using the elevator, taking the stairs, wherever you are, possibly just taking the stairs instead if you're able to. It's just, get your kind of heart going, flowing a little bit and blood pumping through your system, and just kind of throws in a little exercise throughout your day. And sometimes you're not even realizing it, but by the time you realize it's already time to go home, you might have, climbed about 11 flights of stairs by the end of your shift. And hey, that's 11 more than you would have if you've taken the elevator.
And if you're on Move Spring, you might get rewarded for that.
That's right. Extra steps. And also being mindful about taking your stretch break. I know many of us, possibly especially in the clinical areas, are going from nurse's station to patient room and back and forth, but just taking a moment. And we just even say, some of us have the stretch break exercise, which is an app on our computer that automatically, you can put a minute increment on your set for 60 minutes, 45 minutes. I just say at the top of each hour, stand up, roll those shoulders back, and take that stretch. And, it helps. These little micro stretch breaks definitely helps you throughout your day, especially with preventing injuries at work.
Yeah, definitely. Well, with that said, thank you, Janice, for sharing all those great tips.
Thank you.
I know personally I can get better at, as I was thinking through these, like, wow, some of these things you just think, of course I'm going to do it. But then somehow at the end of the day, I haven't had that much water or,
Yep.
done any stretches. So it's a good food for thought about how I can start incorporating more of these self-care exercises into my own routine. And hopefully today was also a good reflection point for you as well of what does your current self-care routine look like? Do you feel like your cup is being filled up, and that you are taking care of yourself? And if the answer is no, what can you do about it? What are some things? What's an action plan that you can set forward to make sure that your cup is being filled? And if you do have any questions, please feel free to email us, sharpbesthealth@sharp.com. And again, we will put up all of the link to all those resources that we talked about underneath the webinar as well. All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you soon.
Have a great day.
Bye.